We will start over. Hello, everybody, and a very, very, very thank you. Yeah, picture no sound. Picture no sound. Like if I make it, if I forget my wife's birthday. No, that would never happen. I would never forget June's birthday because it's in the month of June. Yeah, you get picture no sound, wouldn't you? Yeah, sorry guys. For some reason, for the first time ever, StreamYard was muted when I went live. So welcome to my kitchen. I'm here today because my wife and children are gone away to a drama class and my son is just on the other side of that door, so I'm just keeping an eye on things. So I've moved my presentation out to the kitchen today. I hope you're all really, really well. It's not a really nice Saturday here in Valentia Island. We have a blanket of cloud over us and a lot of rain, but sure, as this very what would you call him, a schmoozing type of a manager I worked with one time in Killarney in the Great Southern, he used to say to the American tourists, he used to say, sure, we can't have 40 shades of green without 40 inches of rain. And he's right, you know, autumn showers for spring flowers. Is that the way it goes? We'll make it up. We'll have our own Academy sayings, okay? Well, today is day 13. We're almost halfway through this wonderful 28-day practice on gratitude. And today is one I really love. It's called Make All of Your Wishes Come True. We have, I know this, by the way, please let us know where you're watching from because I'm streaming this into our regular Academy of Clients and I'm also streaming it onto YouTube and into our masterclass group, which is starting 2 weeks from tomorrow. It's the 7 Levels of Awareness Masterclass that is coming up. Let me just check that out to be sure, as I say. Yeah, so we are going to be doing the 7 Levels of Awareness Masterclass starting on Sunday, 2 weeks. 2 weeks from tomorrow. So I'm streaming into each place. Please tell me where you're watching from. And also, how are you enjoying this practice? We're hearing lots of great feedback and I'd love to hear some more today. So in this chapter, she's talking about making all of your wishes come true. And this is something that I use all the time. We talked the last couple of days about the magic. The magic word is a lesson in the academy. It's week 9, lesson 9, and it's how you see a situation, and all of your instincts are saying this is probably how it's going to go. The people around you will be like, inevitably that's the way it's going to go, but you somehow believe that it's possible for things to change, especially the people in the academy. They've invested in themselves. They're around like-minded people who are going against what everybody else would think is the more Dylan, I know you're not working as a good super spy today. We can all see you. By the way, good job though, trying to creep in. We all look at it differently, so you wouldn't even tell your friends if you're driving into a car park. Galway is a tough place to park. I was there last week, and you're driving in, you're looking for parking. You wouldn't tell a lot of people around you that I'm visualizing and manifesting a parking space. You keep it to yourself, and then you come to one of my seminars, or you join the academy, or you're in a masterclass, and then you're like, oh, other people who think this way, amazing. Other people who believe in this stuff, amazing. And then you start talking about it a lot more. Well, I use it for everything. This week, we received our passports on the 3rd of November. So we have 3 children, and 2 of them, their passports has expired. Dylan, of course, will have multiple passports in the future as a super spy who's crawling around behind me here. He'll have multiple passports, Mr. Bond. Won't you, Dylan? Yeah. But we were booking a holiday for next week, and we were saying we need to have the passports ready. And then, of course, the normal thing for people to say would be, what about if they're not ready? And what about if they come back in time and they're taking forever? And I said, it'll be grand. Of course they will. Of course they will. And they arrived the last day, right on time, exactly as expected. So I tend to go, and I didn't always do this. For sure, I would have been like, look, come on, it's going to be fine. But I would have been saying that for the good of the people around me. But inside, I would have been like, oh, flip it, I hope it's going to work out as well. But now I've shifted completely from that, because you're allowing for a duality of outcomes. You can't. You've got to say, this is how it is going to go. I'm aware of the outcome that you think could happen, but this is my life. This is what I want, and this is the way it's going to go. You're not deluding yourself. You're going through the same timeline, but you have to have that confidence. You have to have that belief that, and then what happens to those people around you that are doubting it? They'll go, oh, well, I was lucky. But I've been too lucky over the last 5 years to ever go back again. It will work out. Don't worry, it will work out. It'll be fine. It will work out. And sometimes opportunities have presented themselves that other people might have seen as crisis points. But because of this philosophy, because of the daily study that I do, when I see something that the majority of people would say, oh, this is a disaster, I see it as, oh, look at an opportunity to grow a little more. So making all your wishes come true, and the theme behind Rhonda Byrne's way of describing this particular philosophy today, it sounds like lovely and soft and airy-fairy here, but she's talking about really powerful stuff. Norman Vincent Peale is the first writer that she quotes here. He says, imagination is a true magic carpet. The person that I am inspired the most about when it comes to imagination, when it comes to the literature and the philosophy and the absolute commitment to his philosophy, was a man called Neville Goddard. He just wouldn't waver from the fact that your assumption of the wish fulfilled is enough for it to be a reality. For you to see yourself, for me to see myself in the vision that I have in the future, for me to see myself standing in a particular place and looking all around and giving Laura a little nudge and going, see, told you so. These are some dreams I have and some visions I have for the future. Nobody else has anything to do with it at this moment in time. It's my assumption of the wish fulfilled. And that seems like a big grand goal for 2025, but it's no different than me using this for my personal life, for the passports, for, okay, I'll be there by 5 o'clock. What about traffic? Don't worry about traffic. I'll be there at 5 o'clock. Just having it in your head that make your wishes come true, no matter how big or small, that you presume and assume the wish fulfilled, you assume it's a done deal, and the rest of it then is that you're handing it over and surrendering. So it's made very soft and nice in this book, but it's a very advanced, very powerful way that sometimes when you read an autobiography, or you might hear it through the grapevine, that a particular sports star or a person of influence in politics or an inventor. It's like, do you know, they were into that stuff as well. It's like they say that Think and Grow Rich was really transformational. The other day on TikTok, I saw something about the gentleman who created Domino's Pizza, and this gentleman said, he said, I'm not the smartest guy in the company. I'm not the most inventive. I'm not the most creative. He said, but I read Think and Grow Rich when I was in college, and I knew I was going to be a multimillionaire. I didn't know how. Wasn't even pizza, wasn't even in his mind. So it is extremely powerful. When you eventually find out, it's like you'll hear it after the fact. And like a lot of us are watching this today on an Apple device. Steve Jobs really believed in the philosophy that thoughts become things. He has a reputation for being a very tough leader, and knowing after the fact what he believed in, I can see how people can get that kind of angry, because when you have a goal in your mind and there's objections coming into your life, if you don't learn to be peaceful and serene and calm, you can react to them. But he used to react to the doubts and fears and worry of his employees and his co-creators in the head of his company. And he would react to their own objections that are deep within. But I wouldn't, as much as I admire the guy a lot, I wouldn't have that approach. I wouldn't see that their fears are blocking my vision. I would see their fears as my opportunity to help free them up in some way for another part of their life. So maybe they're a bit fearful about what I'm suggesting is possible for them in their life. But I don't see it as, I don't get frustrated and angry like he used to, you know. So I sprinkle the magic dust on them ahead of the phone call, ahead of the meeting, and presume that I can help them to achieve their goals in the effortless way, which is making all your dreams come true. So imagine what Steve Jobs did with 90% of this working in a very fluid way. He was very fluid in his mind, but very abrasive in his carrying out of his goal. You know, it's get behind me or get out of my way type of an approach. If you put that fluidity, in Chinese medicine, they talk about like the soft fluid nature of water, but it is so powerful. Like, it's so fluid that it can fill the inside of any container it's poured into. It can gently go down streams and around bends gently, or it can cut through rock. It can probably cut through diamonds. Water is very powerful and very strong, and it can give you life and it can take your life. But our energy, when it's flowing to us and through us, is the same. It can harm us if we don't learn how to use this thinking mind correctly. You can have beautiful results or difficult results if you're not in control of the flow. Water flows, energy flows. Okay, so making all your wishes come true and really letting this in today could be more transformational than any other lesson of the 28. And I don't joke around when I say stuff like that. This is not something that you should take lightly. It's not something you should take seriously either, but you shouldn't ignore it and just go, okay, that was day 13 was cool. It was a Saturday. It wasn't the same as a weekday. This is a huge lesson, right? So I want to give you one personal example and one professional example. Okay, so a personal example in my life was we were living in our cottage before we were building this house, and there was a lot of absence of evidence. So to build a house, we were requiring, many tens of thousands and many different things to go our way, the planning, the percolation, all of these things. And then if we got the planning and the percolation and all that was fine, were we going to have a hugely high-tech system that would cost us maybe 20,000? So that right below us here is the ocean, but it's a special area conservation for shellfish and aviation type life. What do you call it? Like birds, ducks, geese, different types of seabirds. And therefore, if we were to build a house here, we'd have to have a system whereby the water that may eventually leave the land would be going out like tap water. And that's only right. And myself and June would both want that. We wouldn't try and cut corners because it's like, the council won't know, because we actually don't want to be polluting the ocean. That's the way we like to leave. We go around and we picked up hundreds of kgs of rubbish during lockdown and took it to the dump. What else were we going to do, So in the personal life, there was pressures on financially, are we going to get that money for the house and mortgage, right? So there was a bit of like pressure on there. And I remember there was one night, as most couples do, let's say you might be going to bed not in the most harmonious vibration. So I was sitting at the kitchen table, and there was a few words, and then she went to bed, and I was like, for flip's sake, you know how it feels, lads. It's like, God damn it, I don't want this right now. And you know how it feels, ladies. It's like, it's just isn't it a balls when it happens? It's like, flip it, now we've got this fight going on over the weekend, actually, So I remember thinking to myself, hang on now, I've invested a lot of time and money and travel to teach this stuff. And what would I tell the clients to do here? And it's like, we had been together at that time 15 years. So everyone knows each other's habits and patterns. I know her habits, she knows mine. I know her patterns, she knows mine. I know how this is going to go. There'll be a few days of picture, no sound, as was it Margaret said. And then eventually it's like, like home and away. It's like, hey, I thought I might find you here. Look, I'm really sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry too. And then a bit of a smooch, and next thing you know, we're sitting on the couch watching a movie or something like that. I didn't want a few days of this drama. I said, this is what I'm teaching. This is what I believe in. What will I do? So I thought, make my wish come true. I thought, I'm going to turn it around right now. So I wrote down on a piece of paper, June's gone to bed. She's annoyed with me. I'm annoyed with her. It's all her fault anyway, right? No. So we were just both silly billies, and we had a bit of a fight, whatever. So I wrote it all down. She's in bed now. Tomorrow it's going to be like passing each other in the hallway and not talking to one another, and this is the way it always goes, and I'm so sick of it, and blah blah. And I wrote it all down, and I left the kitchen table. I walked into the sitting room. There's an open fire, and I lit it up, and I watched the words burn away. So I was like, for a minute before I lit it up on fire, I was reading it, and I was like, yeah, that's actually the way it is. And I was looking at our life from an outsider's point of view, and I was really disassociating myself from that probability of what would happen the next day. And I looked at it and I was like, this is just paper and words. This isn't my life. This is tomorrow. I don't have to accept that that's the way tomorrow is going to be. So I looked at it, and then I burned it. And it just felt like I was doing this on behalf of me and June. It felt like not really me doing it. I was like, yeah, that's stupid. That's tomorrow. And, 100 million things could happen tomorrow. Like, let's say we woke up and we won the lotto. That would change our state. Instead of waking up, cold backside, turned away from one another. We were going to wake up if it's like, Declan, quick, come over, your father is in trouble. Straight away, me and June would be back together, Declan, great news, we have to win the lottery. Straight away. Declan, there's been an accident on the road. Can you come out and help? Straight away. Or everything would have gone away. So what I was doing was I was changing the state of the potential for tomorrow. So she was gone to bed at this stage. This was me just doing my life. This is you doing your life. You're listening to me today. You're learning, how can I make my wishes come true with this magic book? So my wish was togetherness and happiness. I wasn't doing it because it'll be a pain in the backside now for the weekend. It's not that I didn't want that drama. It's that I wanted our togetherness again. I wanted our love. I wanted our happiness. So it wasn't necessarily just to avoid a pain. It was to gain a pleasure, or to gain something nice for her, for me, for the children. You don't want that silly stuff going on. So I took charge of the situation, burned away the bad thing, which probably would have happened. And then I went back to my piece of paper and I wrote it down. And I said, tomorrow before we get out of bed, we resolve this. And that would have been a rarity. I think maybe in 2000, 2001, we might have done that. But like a lot of couples, we formed this habit of, it's like, we'll have an argument, cold shoulder, and then we'll get back. And I was like, flip that, it's a bloody weekend. We're working our ass off. No, I'm not having that. So I wrote down thing, burned it, and then rewrote. Tomorrow morning, before we get out of bed, we resolve this issue. We quickly make a decision, and and I wrote it all down. And I put it in my pocket and went to sleep, in my pajamas pocket or whatever, went to sleep. Woke up the next morning to this. I was like, yeah. And I was like, the hell? And then she's like, turn around here, you a minute. And I turned around, and she was face to face with me, and she said, this is bullshit. We get up in the morning now and we'd be going on and we'd be having this. And I'm sure some of you are like, oh, here's in the back of your neck. But it's exactly how it went. Oh, I don't want to wake up now tomorrow, and this is happening and that's happening, and walking around feeling this way, and it's not fair. And, so let's make a decision. And it was something we'd heard years ago. If we're going to have an argument lying down in bed. It was just something somebody said to us once upon a time. And she was like, let's try and stop ourselves. So we didn't just resolve it there and then. We also made a commitment that we would have like some sort of a word or some sort of a thing. Before it gets escalated, that we will have some way of trapping it and stopping it. And we actually did. So that's all I want to say about a personal story. This chapter today, you think about how do I want it to be. We're getting some apparel for the Academy printed up. We have a wonderful lady in our Academy at the moment, Patricia, and she's working with me at the moment, collaborating on, I got some prototypes this week. The material is incredible. So we're going to get them branded and printed for ourselves, and maybe a little online shop or something, who knows. But the tagline is, how do you want it to be? And it's a bit of a talking point where somebody might say, what's that t-shirt about? And our clients or our team will be able to say, well, that's a philosophy I live by, you know. If something appears that it's not going to go my way, how do I want it to go? Because you don't need to go into the massive inner details of, well, what I believe is, regardless of how it appears is going to go, and regardless of how it might repeat itself like it did for 15 years, I have the power to change, because tomorrow is a blank canvas. So I just think, how do I want it to go? I focus on how I want it to go, and that happens. And it's like, and they're like, oh, is it like the law of attraction? Yeah, I believe in that, you know. But whatever it is, it's got a talking point going. But that's such an important statement in my life. How do I want it to be? And, you know, there's a great song by Rag and Bone Man last year, and it's like, I'm only human after all. So I am only human after all. And from time to time, I do get dragged back into the, what's the word? Catastrophizing the whole thing. Like, oh, and wait and see, now it's going to go this way, it's going to go that way. And then I find myself thinking that way, and I go, what are you doing, buddy? But I was 35 years thinking that way. 6 years now thinking a new way. So I find myself going down a little rabbit hole and then going, would you stop it? Like, just stop it. And then I go, how do I want it to be? Last night we were watching The Incredibles 2 with the children. Fire was on, and I found myself going into kind of a, you know, cranky pants mode. And I was like, stop. How do you want it to go? So that's the personal side. Professionally, I just remember about 18 or 19 months ago, just being worried about a situation. And I was outside actually mowing our lawn. We just got that first time you could mow the lawn. And I was listening to some really good stuff about, I'll spare you the details, but it was it was a 3-hour audio, very powerful, very far out there type mindset stuff. And I was walking around the lawns. And I remember thinking about, wow, here I am again trying to create a situation. I'm not the creator, I'm a designer. So how do I want it to go? And I literally started saying how I wanted the situation to go. And there was 2 people involved in it. It was me and somebody else. And the other person then started instigating a conversation exactly the way I would have liked it to go. But I'm not good at, you know, maybe giving bad news or talking about things that are difficult. Avoiding conflict is something that people like me tend to do sometimes. Embracing conflict and embracing complexity is actually something that's very good for all of us. But, you know, I'm a hugger. I like making people laugh. I don't like making people upset. So I was like, look, I'm going to have to do it eventually, but I'm a bit bothered. And I was thinking, and then eventually I was like, how do I want it to go? And I started thinking about how it would go. And sure enough, one day I got a text, any chance we can jump on a quick Zoom? And jumped on a Zoom, and the other person just started saying the dream for the both of us, for me and for them. And they just started saying, and I was like, yeah, you're right. Look, I've been thinking the same thing. You're right. So personally, I want to make my wish come true. Professionally, I want to make my wish come true. That's how it goes, guys. You know, it's something that is incredibly easy to do. And I think because of conditioning, I think because of like our parents, our grandparents, our parents, our teachers, our politicians, everybody has been raised predominantly in a follow the conscious mind world. What they did, you must do. How we fix a problem is based on synthetic imagination of how everything has been fixed before. Old processes for new problems. But we are the most creative beings on this world so far as we know. You know, they say dolphins are quite intelligent as well. I say, after watching a documentary recently on Netflix called Fantastic Fungi, I think those things are just the most intelligent. You got to watch that documentary, Fantastic Fungi. Whoa, blow your mind. But as far as we know, we are the most creative. Look, we create the cities and we create these amazing machines that can travel on water, underwater, into space. Wireless technology. I can see my face in 3 places on the screen and on a phone over here. None of them are plugged into anything. It's all wireless. Like, so we are incredible. Yet we've been conditioned to live a life based on what we hear, see, smell, taste, and touch. That's how it just is. That's how it just is. Well, I'm so grateful for the awkward fecker that my parents were welcomed into their life, called Declan O'Donoghue, because home from school, letters about like objections, you know, to school, the priest, the guard, the doctor. I was always a little bit of a, but why does it have to be like that? Like, I mean, you know, it's like, that's just the way it is. That's the teacher and you just have to do it. And I was like, well, the teacher didn't say please. And you're telling me that if I go to the shop, I have to say please. They told me to do something. They didn't say please. I said, say please. You know, I was like, I wasn't troublesome, but I was consistent. And I always challenged, like, but they loved that then sometimes, but then other times they didn't like it so much, because I would be the person who would help the family to think outside the box and come up with better solutions to problems. But so you can't embrace a child's gifts in one aspect and then pour cold water in it in another. So I have very fond memories of being slightly troublesome, and parent-teacher meetings are always the same. Look, you just have to knuckle down more now and stop talking so much and stop having so many big ideas. Okay, so professionally and personally, it's something that I think was probably born with a little bit of thinking, how do I want it to go. So when I heard Bob and other great thought leaders back in 2013 talking this way, when I was in a very crisis kind of a situation in my life, it honestly felt like I'd heard it all before. It felt like, you ever hear the saying, the truth shall set you free? I felt I was hearing the truth for the first time, and it did start a life of freedom ahead of me. So I would love if this lesson today starts a very powerful, very, very powerful life of freedom for you. No matter how difficult it seems, when you start to think, how do I want it to go? It is one conversation can change it. It is one text that can change it. I was talking to a friend of mine late last night, and this one guy was just being a real silly Billy. Because I know it's Saturday afternoon, there might be some children listening in, so I won't swear. But he's being a very unsavory type of a character, not at all nice. You know, him or I would not have seen these kind of true colors come through. Really not nice behavior. And I thought about it after we finished the phone call, and I remember thinking how easy it would have been for that man if he only thought about, how do I want it to be? His effectiveness, his professionalism, his avoidance of problems, your man's problems were caused, and he's drawn my friend into it. But his problems were caused by a failure to prepare. Failure to prepare, you're preparing to fail. And it's really not just a stitch in time saving iron. It is something that's gotten completely out of hand. And it all started with somebody not only not thinking, how do I want it to be, but just going in the total opposite direction. Oh, it's probably all going to go bad and then worse. And that is what has happened. So drama seems to follow him all the days of his life, and ease and calmness seems to follow me and our clients and the team all the days of their lives. You know, difficulties come up, but predominantly their happiness, their calmness, their confidence, their organization, their ability to listen, their ability to understand people, their ability to forgive themselves and others, their ability to ask for help. Everything on the good, on the like fear is the lowest level of vibration. All those other ones, trust, kindness, caring, understanding, generosity, all of these go up, and all the guilt, fear, worry, doubt, apprehension, all these go down. When you start thinking about, how do I want it to go? You get a few little bits of evidence to prove that things are changing because of you, and after that, you're never going back. After that, you're just going to continue doing it. You're going to be sprinkling magic dust onto building my new studio. There's a hold up at the moment, and I just think to myself, well, there's a reason there's a hold up, and I'm so excited to find out what that reason is going to be. I wish I was in there for our next masterclass. I wish I was in there for Christmas. If I'm not, that's the way it was meant to be. We've done everything we could. You know, it always sprinkling magic dust and thinking, how do I want it to be? And acknowledging that things good and bad are probably happening for you as well as happening maybe against you. So if you've been following the magical practice day by day, you'll have now built an amazing foundation by practicing your gratitude for everything that you have received and everything that you continue to receive in your life. But today is an exciting day because you're going to begin to use gratitude's magical power for your dreams and desires. So it is a little bit of a turning point in the book. Hundreds of native cultures throughout the centuries have traditionally given thanks for what they want before they receive it, offering gifts, creating elaborate ceremonies to put as much energy as they could into giving thanks. The Egyptians have celebrated the flooding of the Nile River since very, very ancient times to ensure the conditional flow of water in the river. American Indians and Australian Aborigines performed rain dances, and various African tribes perform ceremonies for their food before they go and hunt for it. And the very nature of prayer in every culture and religion is giving thanks before having received what is desired. I heard, that sounds lovely, and they danced until it rained, and they gave offerings, but some of these were quite barbaric. I remember watching a program about the bog bodies, and there's bog bodies in Ireland, there's bog bodies in Scotland, there's bog bodies in Norway, and it seems to be like this, it was almost like this part of the earth, like maybe all of them were connected at one point, but it just looked, when you looked at the line of bog bodies all the way up along Scotland or Norway, it's this one continuous line. It was a really cool program. I think it was an RT one time, but they showed one man and he was preserved like really, really well. I think they found him in County Meath or somewhere like that. But it turns out they did their, the old archaeologists and all that. They figured out that he was probably the High King at the time, and they had gone through a few tough winters and therefore sacrificed the king to the gods to change things around, because he was held up as like not just a political figure, but as a spiritual figure as well. So it was the most obvious thing to do. So we'll murder the king there and we'll wrap him up and we'll put him in the bog, and that'll be it. And that's how they found him. They found him like not just buried like in a proper nice ceremony, but not very nicely, but done away with. But the evidence that was around him was that it was a ceremonial murder and a ceremonial offering. So yeah, it was quite mad that they were thinking about offerings and gratitude to get what they wanted then. So thank you in advance for what I want. The law of attraction says that like attracts like, which means you must form in your mind a likeness or an image of what you want, and then attract your desire to you. You have to feel as though it's yours, so that you feel it is also like how you feel when you had what you wanted. The easiest way to do that is to be grateful for what you want before you received it. Even if it never occurred to you before to use gratitude to receive what you want, you have now discovered another of its magical powers. The very words in the Holy Scriptures promise exactly that. Whoever has gratitude now will be given more in the future, and he or she will have an abundance. Gratitude is something you must have before you can receive, not something that you simply do after. Something good has happened. Most people are grateful after they receive something good, but to make all your wishes come true and change your entire life by filling with riches in every area, you must be grateful before and after. So I remember like heading to Galway last week, our family and our friend's family together in one house in a few days. I remember, it's been a while now since we all traveled away, and I was like thinking, I hope it all goes well this way and that way. And then eventually I started giving thanks for the days that were going to happen. I don't think about it anymore. It's just normal. We're heading off for a holiday, and I'm already picturing us coming home, unpacking, reflecting on an amazing week together and how great it was and how the food was fantastic, the weather was fantastic, all the travel. I'd be a little bit apprehensive about the travel now and the hold-ups and the testing and all the different things, But I'm just going to get into the feeling of the wish fulfilled, returning home, serving my team and my clients while I'm there, seeing the timelines pan out lovely, seeing everybody sleeping really well, seeing everyone just being so happy, and arriving home and saying, all right, just being so happy to come home and see the dogs again and all that. So I giving gratitude for that. Through the act of being sincerely grateful for receiving your desires beforehand, you immediately form an image in your mind that you have it. Feel as though you have it and you're fulfilling your part. So let's play a little game today. Hello Dylan and Scrappy. Let's play a little game today, all right? If you're driving, don't do this, but if you're out and about, just stop, or if you're wherever you are, try and do this if you can. So I just want you to close your eyes and put your hand up in front of you like this, like you're holding something, okay? So now what I'm going to put into your hand is a green furry tennis ball from Wimbledon. One of those really nice, good ones that you would buy Slazenger, or one of those really good ones you'd buy around every summer when Wimbledon was on. We'd all get the tennis rackets out, wouldn't we? Now, I want you to take that ball and rub it and really feel the fur, even bring it to your nose and give it a smell. You know how it smells. If you bounce it, think of that very distinctive tennis ball bounce and hold it again. Now, all of a sudden, sprinkle magic dust in your hand and, oh, look, it's a ping pong ball. So now you got to close your hand in smaller because the ping pong ball is going to fall out of your hand. And I want you to feel it. Now, don't squeeze it too tight because you're going to put a dent in it, won't you? Just drop it there on the table and it makes a very little, like, a very different kind of a bounce. Now, pick it up, throw it away, because now I'm going to put a cold white ball from a pool table into your hand. Now that's heavier and really smooth, and you can move it around in your fingers. Okay, and now we're going to put that down. Then all of a sudden you're going to need two hands because I'm putting a big, huge basketball in there. So you can feel the dimples on it. You can feel how pumped it is. I mean, it is really, you couldn't press it in. It's so hardly pumped. Then all of a sudden it turns into a rugby ball. Now it's a different shape completely. You got to hold it differently or you're going to drop it. You can open your eyes again now. We have a lot of people who would say, I can't visualize. You just did it. For those of you who are driving, you were probably picturing the colors, the shapes, the feeling as well, if you were just listening along to this. When you are doing what we're talking about right now, you can see yourself being grateful. So let's say, for example, if I was feeling a little bit apprehensive about leaving home last week and going to Galway and moving in with our friends for a few nights and all that stuff, I hope the kids sleep well. I hope it'll be a nice trip and that. I could picture us saying, goodbye, everybody. Thanks for a lovely few days and coming home. That's the same as visualizing the tennis ball, the ping pong ball. I'm sure the reason I went from different types and shapes and sizes and weights and temperatures, even the pool ball probably felt colder than the tennis ball, didn't it? Showing you that you are able to use your higher faculties of imagination and intuition so much more stronger than you are already. So when you start thinking about being grateful for something before it has happened, it's as real as the journey you just went on there with holding all of those different sporting balls in your hand. If I said to you right now, hear the sound of someone hitting a golf ball off a driver, like 3, 2, 1, hear it. Right? Now, 3, 2, 1, hear somebody hitting a slitter with a hurley. 3, 2, 1. So you can see it when you close your eyes, and you can hear it even though there isn't a golf club nearby you or a hurley nearby you. You can somehow hear the clash of the ash. You can hear people roaring when it happens. Great job or something like that. We can use our senses way, way more than we are, and gratitude for the future. Like I can see up there now, it's a concrete floor and it's got wooden partitions. There's no lighting, no plumbing, no plasterboard, no nothing. But June's buying a new kettle today and I'm taking the old one out there. I've already seen myself making a coffee, sitting down in a really lovely chair and looking down at the shoreline and waiting for my new podcast guest to come along. So we're going to spend some time out there, getting to know one another and then doing the interview. I've sat in the chair, I've seen the color scheme, and I'll be there eventually and it'll be deja vu a few months from now. I'll be like, oh yeah, this is exactly how I pictured it. I won't even break my flow. I'll be talking to them, but I'll go, I was here before. So gratitude for that turns up the volume. I would say even if you visualize it without the gratitude, it's probably on its way to you anyway, but put that gratitude in and you're off to the races. At the beginning of this book, I asked you to get really clear about what you want in every area of your life. Now, that's something that's a work in progress, and often people don't do that enough because they can't do it the first time. We spend at least 7 days, sometimes 14 days working with clients to help them to get clear on what they want. So try and get clear on what you want. Go to the list that you've created and choose your top 10 desires for this magical practice. You can select 10 desires from different areas of life, such as money, health, home, and relationships. And you might want to choose 10 desires in one area that you really want to change, such as work and success. Be very clear and be very specific about what you want the most. Imagine you're putting it all in a magical order with the universe helping you with your top 10 desires, because in truth, using the law of attraction, that's exactly what you're doing. So this is some of the examples that Rhonda Byrne gives. Thank you, thank you, thank you for the high marks in my exam results, which got me into the exact college that I want. Thank you, thank you, thank you for the great news that we are having a baby. Thank you, thank you, thank you for the unexpected money that I have received. It's exactly what I need for my European trip. Thank you, thank you, thank you for the ideas that won us our biggest client yet. Writing thank you 3 times in a row is a powerful thing to do because it prevents you from throwing your words away and it increases your focus of gratitude. Saying thank you 3 times is also a magical formula because it's a magical number for all new creation in the universe. For example, it takes 1 male and 1 female to create a baby. I heard Stuart Francis last night. He's a one-liner comedian, and he says, "I'm from a family of 3. I'm the youngest. My parents were older." He's got that deadpan one-liners. It's very funny. But he says the same rule of 3 applies in the creation of everything in the universe, including the creation of your desires. Oh, that's really interesting. I'd forgotten that's why there's 3 things. So the next step, make all your wishes come true, involves you saturating your desires with more gratitude. So think about to saturate each of your desires with gratitude's magical power. Begin with the very first desire on your list and use your imagination mentally and answer the following questions. What emotions did you feel when you received your desire? So I have a desire that everybody who's working with me in my company receives a certain level of success between now and next August. It's a little challenge I've put in front of everybody. How do I feel? What are the emotions I feel? Well, I'm gone beyond just the success. I'm gone to what will that do for their home. So I think of one young man building his dream house. I think of a couple perhaps paying for their wedding and building their house. I think of another young man just became a dad recently, and I think of him spoiling his beautiful partner and their lovely daughter. I think of our friends Elaine and Dusan building their home over in Croatia. So what are the emotions I feel when I see that desire fulfilled? Incredible, like just so grateful for it, so thankful for it, so kind of like, how did this happen to me kind of a feeling. Number 2, who was the first person you told when you received your desires? How did you tell them? Unquestionably, it will outside of the team because the team will know about it, so it'll be a shared experience, but it would be usually it's June. I say, come here, sit down, I want to show you something. See this happened today. So number 3, what's the first great thing you did when you received your desire? Include as much detail as you can in your mind. I think I'd be teaming up with our darling Ernestine to spoil people with gifts. That's what I'd be doing. The first thing is, okay, oh wow, oh my God, a big heron just landed in the back garden. It looked like a flipping prehistoric bird landing in the, those, or the pterodactyls or something. That's pretty impressive. All right, so that's actually, no, that's not the practice. Let's read the list. So today then, your 10 count your blessings. Number 2, sit down with your pen and paper or your computer and write down your top 10 desires. Say thank you 3 times for all of them before they're achieved. Using your imagination, answering the following questions in your mind. What emotions did I feel? Who's the first person I told? And what's the first thing I did now that the wish was fulfilled? About all 10 of those. So today's quite a long one. There's quite a bit of writing in it, but just get it done. I'm grateful for the rain that is keeping me indoors from doing some of the outdoor tasks I was going to do, because it allows me to get ahead of myself in other areas of life. Getting those receipts ready, Ernestine, that you and Laura are so really wonderful to remind me of. Okay, so number 4, reread the sentence listing your desires and really emphasize the words thank you so you feel it as much as you can. Number 5, if you like, create a magic board. Cut out pictures and attach them and say thank you, thank you, thank you. Everything on my vision board has worked out. Myself and Laura were driving up to County Clare, up to Donald Trump's place there, Doonbeg, and went away for a couple of days after a few tough years of working far away from one another. We went away, we got into a bit of a brainstorm for a couple of nights in a beautiful place, beautiful location, great food, great staff, and really got down to taking the academy to the next level, planned out some really good stuff. But on our way there, I got on a phone conversation with somebody, and the phone conversation, I was like, I actually don't know how this happened. But the truth of the matter is, we're heading into December 1st, and my vision board was for December 1st. And it was the last thing on the list. I got a hunch, I sent an email, the fella rang me 2 days later. I'd forgotten all about filling out the form. And then I said, can you ring me back tomorrow at 9 o'clock? Because I knew I'd be traveling in the car with Laura. And the conversation happened. And it's an insane goal, but it's on the vision board. I was the designer, not the creator. Somebody else like whispered an idea into my ear. Send an email about that just to see. And then I sent the email he rang me, and then we had a conversation, and it was the last thing on the vision board for this year. So write down all the vision. Make a vision board would be a good thing, but you've plenty to do today without that. Just before you go to sleep tonight, don't forget the magic rock. Okay, so I'm going to have a quick read through these. Hello, Richard. How are you? Someone's tuning in from Tralee. Oh yeah, someone says, how do I want it to be such a powerful tool? So I'll read here first because it could be the Academy. Ernestine says, hello, Dylan and Scrappy, listening from across the county bounds in the capital of Cork. Very nice. Is it Cork's the capital, or you're in the capital of Cork? So what's the capital of Cork? I would have said probably the city, but is it Kinsale? Let me know. Deirdre, tuning in from the beautiful Killarney. So grateful for a wonderful morning in the Autumnal National Park. Well, that would have been good for the mind and the body and the soul. Hello, Mr. Cross, and hello. Vicky's here as well. Hey, Vicky, how are you? So Amanda's going to tune in to see, and she said you tune in late to see what you missed. Our good Kerry man there, Padraig. How are you, Padraig Brangles? Hope you're well, buddy. And Denise is watching along as well. Denise, I set you a task in your accountability this week. I don't know if you've heard that yet, but I hope you've gotten into it. Niamh, how are you, Niamh? I got a lovely gift from Niamh recently. She goes, I have to say I'm having a ball with the magic dust. Brilliant. Lucia is here. She says tuning in on Facebook, and it's great. And that's everybody. That's all of the comments. So thanks so much for everybody being here today. We've got 20-something people here, 10 more over there. So that's not a bad old return for a Saturday afternoon. Someone else is tuning in from Cork. Oh, it's Michael tuned in from Cork in his new car. Woohoo! On Mr. Cross. That's me done for the day. I'll be back tomorrow. Now, I'm going to pick a time because we have a match in Kinmare at 11, so we'll probably leave at about 9. So let's commit here. What time will I do tomorrow? I'm going to get up and at him early. Okay, so I'm going to go live for day 14 at 8 o'clock in the morning. Get up and get on early. I'm going to do my gratitude and go live at 8 a.m. Avril Smith, right back at you. She goes, have a magical weekend, everyone. I can't believe I've never met Avril Smith. I can't wait to meet you, Avril. All right, it feels like we have met and known each other a long time. And there's little bits of you all over the house. I've got gifts here and gifts there, and cards here and cards there. And of course, Noel Moran called down recently, and he went away with some potatoes and carrots. And I goes, no, they're from Avril's garden. So 8 a.m. tomorrow, I'll be there, bells on. I don't expect you all to be there at 8 o'clock. It's Sunday morning after all. But between now and then, I wish you all the best. Thank you for being part of this. Thank you for inviting more and more people to it. I will say one quick thing. If you are inviting anyone, there is an invite button in the Facebook group. Don't click it, because we don't see, your invitees don't happen to get the notifications anymore. So you'd go into our Facebook group and you'd copy the link, and you'd send them the link to join. Now that way, that's how we can get in touch with them. But if you just click invite, it doesn't seem to work, and we have to actually delete them then after that. But that's all right. The intentions are good. All right, dear friends, thanks a lot. Oh, by the way, we also have a competition going at the moment to win a prize to go to Euro Disney with your family. So I encourage you to do that competition. You can get points when other people sign up with your link as well. So they have to join the masterclass, follow me on Facebook, follow me on YouTube, follow our Instagram page, and they're entered into the draw. And the draw is not going to be for another couple of weeks. And it is an actual competition. There's people actively sharing the link to keep themselves on pole position, so they will win it. And there will be a winner, and that's a fact. Somebody is going to win that prize to go to Paris, go to Euro Disney with their family. So what did they say? It could be you. So get the link and start sharing it over the weekend, and off you go. All right, everybody, lots of love. Talk to you tomorrow morning at 8